Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Book Geek, also known as Kiava, and this will be my very late June book haul / July / birthday book haul. So in the month of June, I actually did not purchase any books at all, but I was gifted some books from a friend of mine who lives in Norway. He's also a devoted subscriber of mine, and we both have a love for Stephen King. So he decided to send me a Stephen King book. This is Cujo, but written in Norwegian. And I am a collector of Stephen King books. He found out that I like to collect books as well, Stephen King books, and he sent me the Norwegian copy of Cujo. Isn't that so cool? Awesome. I can't read the words, but I'm so glad to have this. He also surprised me by sending me 2 additional books, and I don't want to butcher the title of this. In the note that he sent me, he says that this book is considered a classic and that it is a trilogy of historical novels originally released in 1920, The Reef, and 1921, The Wife, and 1922, The Cross, with the story taking place in medieval Norway, and that it won the Nobel Prize in Literature for its work. So all 3 stories, I believe, are in this one book. And the third book that he sent me is titled The History of Bees. He says it is a fiction book, but it's based on a very real topic, on environmental issues and how we are in danger of destroying this planet. So thank you so much, OJ, for sending me those books. I really, really adore them. I appreciate you so, so much. You're such a great friend to me. Now, moving into the month of July. In July, I turned 34 this year. Can you believe that? Your girl looks good, okay? 34 where? And so I decided to purchase 34 books to celebrate my 34th year. So I got 34 books here to show you. First up is Dracula versus Hitler. I saw this title and I was like, oh my God, that would be so dope. In fact, I need to research and see if there's a graphic novel that's similar to this with Dracula versus different characters, because Dracula versus Hitler in a graphic novel format with that artwork would be so dope. I love vampires, and so, you know, I just think this is going to be magnificent. It says here at the beginning of World War II. I always have a problem saying that. Professor Van Helsing and his fierce daughter Lucy have united with guerrilla forces in Transylvania to defeat Hitler and his army. But alas, the valiant team is no match against the Nazi brutality. Only someone as sadistic and relentless can match the depredations of the Gestapo. Is that how you pronounce that? And luckily, Van Helsing happens to know just the guy. So he's going to go get Dracula to help fight against these Nazis. This is going to be so dope. I think this is going to be so fucking good. It is a big book, and I really want to read this next year. The next book that I purchased was The Taking of Jake Livingston. I love this cover. I say that every time I talk about this book. This one was actually on a past TBR for this year that I just did not get to. In this story, this young man can see ghosts and he comes into contact with a vengeful spirit. Some of these books you might have seen on my anticipated books for 2021 videos, and I definitely know that this next one was on there, and that is Ghostwood Song. This father had the ability to, I think, awaken the dead with a magical fiddle, and the girl, his daughter, her brother, his son, has been accused of a crime. And so she is going to attempt to play this fiddle to unearth the dead, to try and clear her brother's name. She's looking for answers some way, somehow. And I just thought that sounded so interesting. A magical fiddle that can raise the dead. And I love this cover, by the way. Next up is The Conductors. And I don't know, is it just me? But this girl looks like, what's that actress name? I think she played in Disney. Is it Sky? Sky something. She looks like her, the black girl. I'm going to insert a picture. The girl on the cover looks just like her. But this is a story of magic and murder set in the aftermath of the Civil War. I also purchased Angel of Greenwood. Look at this cover. It is magnificent. I mean, I would have this on a painting hanging on my wall. That cover is so beautiful. This story, I mean, you can see in the background the destruction because it is set in Tulsa, Oklahoma, on Black Wall Street. This will be the story of how this community and the people in it, their lives change forever when a white mob storms into the community and absolutely destroys it. And I just think it's going to be quite devastating to read about, but beautiful nonetheless. I also purchased the Shroop. This is a horror book, and I hear that this one has body horror. It's that type of horror. So yeah, you know, I love a good horror book. The next one is supposed to be another creepy book, and that is Wonderland, which another gorgeous cover. I swear, these covers are so damn beautiful. Something begins to call to the family from under the earth, beneath the trees, and within their minds. Orla realizes she's the only one who can save them from a sinister force if she can find out what it wants before it's too late. Woo. The next one is Chlorine Sky, another beautiful cover. This is a coming-of-age book written in verse. Okay, next up is another horror book, We Hear Voices. This is about a young boy whose imaginary friend might not be so imaginary after all. This next one needs no introduction and no explanation. It is You, Part 3. You Love Me. I'm sorry, but I am guilty of loving Joe. You, when I read that book, you captivated me, okay? Joe totally stole the show, and you just can't help but love him. He's just so charismatic and crazy. I just love it. I love it. I recently, you know, binged watched the most recent season. What season are they on? 3 now? It was just magnificent. And now we have this third book, and I hear that the TV show does deviate from the source material somewhat, especially in season 2 and 3, but I don't care. I love both the show and the books equally, and can't wait to dive into this third one. Next up is another book with a beautiful cover, Amari and the Night Brothers. I've been hearing a lot of praise for this one, so I might want to bump this one up on my list to read earlier in the year, next year. The next book is The Cost of Knowing. This is going to be very traumatic for me to read, but I want to read it nonetheless. It is about a boy who, when he touches things, he can see that thing or that object's future. And he touches a picture of his brother and he sees his death. The next book is Crosshairs. In this story, which sounds like a real possibility, we are in a near future where law enforcement and whatnot, a regime, round up communities of color, the disabled, and the LGBTQ plus community members and places them into labor camps. This sounds like something that could actually happen, and it is fucking terrifying. And yeah, in this story, someone is planning an uprising, and it's just so relevant. This is not that far into the future. If we do not change the way that we live, this is something that can be a real possibility for us. I'm going down swinging, I can tell you that shit right now. I also purchased the graphic novel version of this book, and that is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. I will be reading this one in the month of December. I was supposed to read this one a few months back. We ain't gonna talk about that. But this is on my December TBR. And the reason why I haven't picked it up yet is because it is about the story of a young man who is grappling with the shooting death of his brother. And he is in the elevator. I think he's making his way down the elevator. And along the way, he runs into some very interesting characters because he might not be making the best choice. He might not be going down this elevator to make the best choice. And along the way, he meets some very interesting characters. And as hard as it's going to be for me to read it, I definitely want to read it. And the artwork is spectacular as well. This next one sounds so magical, and it is Before the Coffee Gets Cold. It is about a magical coffee shop where you can travel through time. Excuse me? I want to go to this coffee shop. I got some things I want to see, some people I want to see, and some things I want to say to some people in the past. I mean, that sounds like a dream. The next one I have here to show you is The Silent Patient. This is the story about a woman who shoots and kills her husband and then never utters another word. The next one is Burn Our Bodies Down. I can't remember what the story was about, but it has some mystery elements. The next book is Black Sun. Look at that cover. It is an epic fantasy adventure. That's all you're getting. I also bought Witches Steeped in Gold. Oh my God, these covers. You guys are going to get tired of me talking about how beautiful these covers are. Representation matters so much, okay? I had my hair done like this just a few months ago. Okay? Who can do my hair like this? But this is a story about two witches that are going to team together to try and take down the woman who is threatening to destroy their world. What? Witches, black witches, sisterhood, give it to me. Give it to me. I also have the prequel. This movie, okay, I'm going to show you this book, but the movie is one of my favorite movies ever. One of my top 100 movies. Top 100 favorite movies, okay? And I got the prequel to the graphic novel. I got the prequel part 1, Extinction, Snowpiercer. If you've never seen the movie Snowpiercer, you got to watch that. Oh my God. I love Snowpiercer. I do want to get the rest of the graphic novels, but I want to start with the prequel and then work my way into, the rest. But oh my God, I love Snowpiercer so much. There's so much to digest there about classism, and it's just, and sacrifice. It's just a beautiful, wonderful story, and it wonderful movie. And it's just not too many people talk about that movie, and that's the tragedy. I also got Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. What more do I need to say? It's Riley Sager, okay? And I hear that this is one of his better ones. Next year, 2022, I am going to try to do a Riley Sager readathon because I've only read one of his books. I own several of them, and I really loved the one that I read, which was Final Girls, I think it's called. But I hear a lot of praise for this particular one in general. So, very anxious to read that. I also purchased The Last House on Needless Street. This is one that's on the top of the list for next year. And it says, you think you know what's inside the last house on Needless Street? You think you've read this story before? In the dark forest at the end of Needless Street, something lies buried, but it's not what you think. And this was one of my most anticipated books. So, it's blurred by Stephen King. So I haven't read anything this exciting since Gone Girl, Stephen King. Gone Girl was the book that got me started on Bookstagram, actually. And I'm so glad that, I had that book and I loved it so much that I wanted to put it online. I met so many wonderful people through Instagram. I'm so grateful for that. The next book is Sorrowland by Rivers Solomon. This is a story about a woman who escapes into the woods. She's trying to protect her children. And that's not even the half of it. There's so much more deeper layers to this story that I just cannot get into right now. This is not like an in-depth type of thing, but it was another one that I was really anticipating. I also got The Mothers by Britt Bennett. I also got The Shadows by Alex North. They believed they could control their dreams. Instead, they created a nightmare. I have The Other Black Girl here. Provocative, urgent, and sharp as a knife, The Other Black Girl is an electric debut about the tension that unfurls when two young black women meet against the starkly white backdrop of New York City book publishing. Oh my God, the author of this book is so beautiful. Isn't she gorgeous? Just as gorgeous as this cover. I also got Horrid. This was more of a cover buy for me. I have heard people talk about this one before, but don't remember what it was about. But the cover looks creepy, so I'm hoping it's a creepy story. I got The Sundown Motel. I just love this cover. Something hasn't been right at the roadside Sundown Motel for a very long time, and Carly Kirk is about to find out why. This next one sounded so interesting to me, and that is the space between worlds. So in this book, multiverse travel is possible, but you can't travel to a place where one of your other selves is still alive. This is a sci-fi story, and I just think that is just so interesting. She's going to run into trouble when one of her 8 remaining doppelgangers dies under mysterious circumstances. Can't wait to read this one. The next book is Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay. I mean, I've really grown to love Paul Tremblay's work. A lot of people can't get his writing. He leaves a lot of his endings left to the imagination. You have to make an inference and interpret it for yourself. He doesn't always spell it out for you. And I love that when authors don't always hand you all the answers on a fucking silver platter. In this story, it is about a rabies-like virus that has taken over Massachusetts. This next one I got because the cover was beautiful, okay? And a lot of people were talking about it, and that is Lore. Look at that cover. I actually want to get a tattoo of Medusa on me, but black Medusa, okay? And instead of like, I do want the snakes, but I want them like I want them to be like dreads. How we know Medusa wasn't really black, and the snakes that we see that they portray in her hair and artwork, it really was just dreads or locks. How we know that? How we don't know that? I'm just saying. But yeah, gorgeous cover. Take a drink every time I say the cover is gorgeous. We're almost done here, I promise. Lock and Key. It is December now. I purchased these books back in July, but I just finished, just now, like right before I started recording, I just finished watching season 2 of Lock and Key. So, can't wait to talk about that in my wrap up. But, yeah, very popular Netflix series. I hear that the graphic novel is something else. And this is the first volume. Yeah, the first volume. So, it is like horror type graphic novel. The next graphic novel I have here to show you is Birthright. Losing their son was the most devastating thing that could ever have occurred, but it couldn't prepare them for what happened when he returned. It says fantasy will become reality in this graphic novel. And lastly, we have Halsey Street. Sometimes at my local Ollie's, they will have library books there. Oh wow, look, the receipt is still in here. And so that's why it has like this plastic library type cover on it. When everything has changed, an artist must find her way home. A modern day story of family loss and renewal. Halsey Street captures the deeply human need to belong, not only to a place, but to one another. So we've made it to the end. That is it, guys. Those are all the books that I acquired in the month of June and July of 2021. I cannot believe that the year is over practically and 2022 is upon us and things have not gotten any better. What will next year brain for us. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I really appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.